I'll go through our Workspace Backup and how we can use it for the backup and the restore options. But firstly, just think about the conventional solutions. So a conventional DR solution, a backup, won't have an analysis of the source Nexus system and would have no understanding of how the Avid media and the projects work together. So it will then effectively blindly back up the data, potentially even if it's been encrypted by ransomware. So there's a great risk of ruining a perfectly good backup. And when it comes to restoration, it will go through that monolithic restoration of data, potentially again, even if it's been encrypted by the ransomware. So your entire system would have to be recovered, and that recovery could go on for weeks or months. And there's no way to access the backup at a project or bin level to go into that lower level of granularity and get out just what you need to get things running quickly. There's also no real flexibility in the restoration system type or the location where you're going to bring things back to. So wouldn't it be better if you had a better way of handling the Avid backups? And this time base it on a backup tool that understands Avid and how Avid works and can intelligently process what needs to be backed up. And also to protect your Avid media from ransomware just by the design of how it works. So we wouldn't be backing up or rebacking up any potentially corrupted media files. We'll be protecting what's in your backup and making sure it's clean and safe. You can also intelligently then manage the contents of the backup and offer fast and flexible restoration options. And our Workspace Backup tool is the only backup solution specifically designed for Avid systems. When we come to do the backups, the first step we'll always take is to analyze the source nexus and the workspaces. And with that, we understand the relationship between the media files and the project files. We can then back up all of the files on the workspace, but we'll only ever copy the original Avid media files into the backup. We will never copy encrypted media into that backup. If we see the media file has changed, we will raise that as an error state and pass over it. And this also will include a version control backup of your project files to give you a choice of restore points. On the storage size, you can go to whichever storage location you want to go to. In this example, we're going through to an S3 object storage, and the S3 includes now options for object locking. So you can put an extra level of security on the assets as they go into the storage. And when we do that, we'll set the retention periods per asset. We can also then run regular tidy operations on the backup, where we'll remove any assets that were deleted from the source system after a configured retention period. And we'll give you the flexible job configurations and retention policy management, where you can choose which workspaces to back up and what policies to put on each workspace or each job. Give you lots of tools to go through and set the granularity that you need for your backup configuration. So I'll go through and look at the restore options that we'll then give. So we have two independent recovery tools. We have the Workspace Restore, which will restore at a workspace level. In that case, we can bring your workspace back, and we can bring it back to the original location or remap the job to a different workspace or a new workspace. And that's an intelligent restore. If the destination is empty, we'll restore the whole workspace. If there's content still in the workspace, and there's just some files that are no longer there or have been cleaned out, we can restore only the missing files. And then we have the project restore, which will restore a chosen version of the project or just a selection of bins within the project, and can restore it to any location. So we can bring it back to your original system and rebuild the original system, or we can restore that project to a completely different location and allow you to start that project again from a new position. Those are the two areas that I'll show in my demos that are coming up next. Now, both those tools can be used at the same time, so you'll be able to do your restoration of your workspace while also bringing project backs and getting working immediately. So for the demos, the first one will bring back lost files into a Interplay PAM managed Nexus, coming from an S3 object storage using the project restore application. And then we'll also show the restoration of a project from that S3 backup to a completely standalone media composer with local storage, and bring it back as a new project. And this one will show the process to recover files from our backup to a Nexus. In this case, I'll show the deletion of some Nexus essence files from underneath an active media composer project. And then we'll use our project restore capability to recover just the missing files from the backed up version of the project. The Nexus workspace and the projects using the media have all been regularly backed up into that S3 object storage. So here we have a very simple project with a sequence and some media files. The files are all held on our Nexus workspace, and as you can see, all of the files are online and they're all playable. So what I'll do now is to simulate a failure by going into a folder that's holding some of these essence files, and I'll manually delete them. So we'll select a load of files, and I'll just delete them off the Nexus. Now, as soon as I switch back to Media Composer, all of the files have gone offline. So now everything is gone. Now, if you're within a normal system, recovering from this would take a lot of manual work. You'd have to find which essence files and which essence atoms have gone, identify all the file names within the project, and start searching through your backup, if you have one, and then try to match those individual file names, and then finding a way of copying each file back into your source system, if you're able to find them. For us, in this case, we'll actually just open our Project Restore application and bring them straight back. So the Project Restore allows us to look into the backup and look into the projects that were captured when that backup ran. The structure is the same structures that we would have found on the source system, so easy to go through and find the projects you're working on and work out which one you want to bring back. You can choose the version to bring back, and you could also choose how much to bring back. In this case, we'll bring the whole project, and we'll pick a version. We'll go for the second to last one. And now we'll just choose where to bring the project back to. In this case, we're going to be recreating it in the existing location. So the project will come back to the original location, and the media will come back to the same workspace. We can always remap to other locations, but in this case, I'm going to be filling in the gaps once I've just created. As soon as we press start, we'll start transferring just the files that are missing back. So those missing files are being written back into my Nexus. And as soon as that completes, I can go back to my Media Composer, and all my files are back online. So it really was that simple to go through and recover. And it really is that easy when you're doing so at a project level. And I didn't even have to restart my Media Composer or close and reopen the project. Everything just came back online immediately. For the next demo, in this case, we will use the same tools. This time we'll now restore an entire project to a completely different system. So we'll show how simple it is to get a project and its media back online, even if the original system is not available. In this case, we're restoring from the same S3 backup now to a standalone Media Composer that's running on a laptop in another location. It has the Project Restore application installed and has been given access to the S3 bucket, but it has no access to the originating Avid system or the original Nexus. Here I have my standalone Media Composer. It's running on a laptop, it's completely clean, it's not seen the project or the media before. So now I'll open the Project Restore application and go through the same steps as before. We'll navigate through to the project. We'll find the project we want to work with. And we'll go through the process to bring it back. We can again choose which version to work on, and we can choose how much to bring back. I'm going to bring back the entire project this time. And now we'll write the project files into my local machine, and I will change the media location. So the original workspace is obviously not available, so we'll bring it back to a local workspace. In this case, I'm on a laptop and I just have my C drive available, so we've actually automatically changed the settings. If you had other drives mounted on that local machine, then they would appear in the drop-down list and you could choose those instead. But in this case, we're just working with the C drive. So we'll take that and we'll start the transfer. Now this time we're going to bring back the entire project and we're going to bring back all of the files. So this is a full restore of that project. And this time, as soon as it completes, we can go back to the Media Composer and refresh my project list. So there's the project file. And if I open that, we'll see all of the media files and the sequences and all the bins, everything's coming back online. So there we go, I have my project and we have all the media online. At this point, the editor can get on and start working and get back to where they were. So you can see how simple and easy it is to use a project-aware backup to get you back online and also working from where you left off. And this is even if the original system or the entire facility is not available anymore.